Hi, everybody. Um, I don't quite know where to start. I have so many different thoughts going on in my mind constantly. I feel like I have a bottleneck. Um, there's so many different subjects that I'm writing on, and they're all tied into, um, they're all tied into AI, algorithms, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, nanotechnology, biotechnology, what's going on in the world. And they also have to do with our identity and what else? Well, current events. And right now, at this time, everything feels so incredibly intense. And I'm not surprised that we are where we are because of censorship, AI, algorithms, families, friendships being split apart, differences of opinion about what's true and what's real in the world. And there's an article that I'm writing, and I just want to put it out there. I'm kind of taking my time with it, but it's got to do with this. I think it's Ecclesiastes, if I remember correctly, but there's this verse that says that when people do not love the truth, then God sends to them a powerful delusion. And I've been meditating on that a lot. So, back to the issue of identity, right? Um, I've come to my own conclusion that when we identify too much with the physical aspects of ourselves and not enough with our consciousness um, that knows no boundaries, but when we identify with the parts of ourselves that have boundaries, like our bodies or our histories or our legacies or our cultures or whatever, then that identification really blows up our egos, and it causes us to not love the truth, right? We love our bodies, we love ourselves, we love the way we look, we love our accomplishments, we love our homes and our cars, the money that we make, our titles, our social status. The we love the familial and the friendship connections that we have. We love our political ideology. We love these things that are temporary, they're temporal, they're things that are born and die. They're matter, these material things, right? So when we're in that state of loving the material more than we love the truth, then it's like, yes, we are prone to come under a powerful delusion. I've been talking to friends lately about racism, and I made up my mind years ago that racism is actually a mental illness, and I've written about it. I don't remember if I've shared about it, but I've written about it. So when somebody has a mental illness, they're not um, they have this distorted relationship with reality. Their perception of reality is distorted, right? So there's information that they allow in, and there's information they don't allow in. And that's exactly what racism is. That's exactly what any ism is, right? And it's sort of like maybe back in the ancient days, if I were explaining this, I would say that that's idol worship, right? Or I would say if you have a whole group of people who because of their concept of themselves and reality only let certain information in, and other information it's like, no, it doesn't fit with our worldview, we're going to reject that. Either it doesn't exist or it's wrong and it's evil and it's bad. Then I would say that's witchcraft. That's a massive it's like a massive mind control, or hypnotic, a whole group of people are in this hypnotic trance state. So, saying all that to say, I've done quite a few videos and I've written about artificial intelligence and human consciousness, and how we have been at this like point in time where um, artificial intelligence has literally taken over human consciousness. And what I mean by that is that um, we don't have as much control over our consciousness as maybe we used to, right? So, like, say if I'm on social media or I'm listening to the news or something, um, I'm innocent. I'm a human being. I want to know what's going on. I want to learn, right? And I come across information by a scientist or a doctor, or a group of scientists that they have a particular perspective and they have experience and they've done studies and a lot, and they've had all of this success. They're What they're doing doesn't go along with the narrative of the people in power. So the people in power say, false, these people are charlatans or whatever. Most people are going to go, they're charlatans, right? Because what artificial intelligence does, and like I took a UX design course, and we did a lot on like building personas and marketing to certain personas, and like really understanding different demographics and what their values are, what they'll spend money on, what they won't spend money on, time, and all of that. So these AI algorithms know us so very well that we'll come across information, and those algorithms know exactly what videos to send to put on our feed or what to expose us to that will like go into those little, like those little cracks in our armor or whatever. I mean, it's brilliant. So like from a non-human standpoint, it's brilliant. It's like, oh my God, wow. Like this AI is so incredibly intelligent, and it can help anybody to achieve their own ends, right? There's another article that I'm writing, and it's got to do with how in the ancient world, and this is all over the world, there was no word for blue. And of course, people saw sky, ocean, and maybe they saw the reflection of the sky in, still waters, lakes, ponds, and things like that. But the color blue was so rare. Like there were some butterflies who had blue, or maybe there were some flowers. They were colored blue, but it's like they didn't last long. And so no color for blue whatsoever. People saw blue, but they didn't recognize blue as something distinct, as a different color. Because, blue was something that was almost impossible to replicate in like paint and dye. It was so very rare in the natural world outside of, the sky during the day and, the ocean, whatever. So I'm saying all that to say, like, how there are people who are really brilliant at reverse engineering. Like there's some people who know music, like they sit at a piano for the first time, they play around with it for a few minutes, and then anytime they hear a piece of piano, like a piano piece, they can replicate it. Or people figure out how to take a computer apart, put it back together, or a car, or a piece of machinery, or whatever. They can reverse engineer. So consider that if something can be reverse engineered, those exact same principles and steps and methods, processes, you can create something, you can take something apart, create it, and then with that knowledge, you can create something else, right? So please bear with me. I was thinking about like writing my ideas down and then talking, and then I was back and forth, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll just talk what comes up for me. So if people's thoughts can be engineered now, what we perceive, what we're able to perceive is engineered, what we believe is engineered, then the same methods can be used to make us not see, right? And going back to the color blue, right? I was writing an article, it disappeared off my computer. It's a long and weird story, but let's put it this way. For instance, take that principle of the inability to see blue or recognize it, right? Artificial intelligence or people who have high status in society can say, that's not real. And they'll know how to say it in a way to me. And this involves repetition. It involves saying it many different ways, using different methods, using, sound, color, lighting, music, tones, and all of this. I can actually be induced to not see something, right? And this is what I'm observing happening to so many people, is when somebody with a high status, somebody with authority says, that's not real, then not real, right? And I've literally witnessed people, like I'll try to do it with the camera with my eyes, like I'm looking at you, I'm talking, and then, somebody says, that's not real. And then all of a sudden I'm like this, it's not real. It's not real. And the way that one of like the most powerful, I guess, tools to induce me into this like state where I see and I don't see is the use of shame, the use of shaming words, the use like depicting those people over there as undeserving of respect because, they're kind of backwards, or they don't have the level of education that we have, or they don't believe in science, or they're simpletons. They're just simple-minded people, and we're the upper echelon. We don't identify. We wouldn't be caught dead talking to those types of people because they are, after all, the lowest of the low. You know what I mean? And I can recognize it because I experienced it many times growing up, especially like when I was here in the States, especially starting around 12 years old, right? It was an embarrassment and a shameful thing to be friends with Inonge because she was from Africa and she had this thick accent. I don't have it anymore. And, she just didn't know, she was just too different. And so I missed out on so many opportunities to have friends and to be included in group, activities and things and parties or whatever, because it's like that shame factor was there. Like, I'm sure that many of the kids, either they knew it instinctively or they were literally bullied or shamed out of being friends with me because, Inonge, she's from Africa. She's like the jungle bunny jigaboo, She probably, in Africa, they swing off trees, all of that stuff. African people are everybody knows, right? Those stereotypes. And so there are sufficient numbers of people who, maybe they did like me. I don't know. I was friendly. I wanted friends. I was just a friendly, nice person. But there were so many people who, I remember even then being very consciously aware of it. They were shamed out of being my friend. And that caused me to be very, very lonely. However, I don't regret it at all because I learned a lot from the experience and I'm able to take those memories, take that experience, and I've integrated it. And then I'm in the world right now and I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, I recognize that. that happened to me. I recognize that. So, like when I look at the news, um, when I look at memes that are being passed around in social media, when I listen to the news, all of that, I read articles, I see that exact same dynamic. Like, I'll give you an example. Um, like, first of all, I have to qualify myself. I am pro human. That's it. I'm pro human beings. Okay, and when it comes to the language about constructs, right? Did you know that political parties, that's a construct? Okay, we can apply it. So anyway, getting back to it, I'll give you an example of this shaming, and I've talked about it before, but this one I think is absolutely hilarious, right? In Florida, of course, there's massive Cuban population in Florida, particularly in the United States, because people left Cuba because of socialism and communism, and we're decades into it now. And so Cuban Americans overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump because they see him as fighting against socialism becoming a part of American government. Now, the media didn't know what to do about this. It was such a shock because, Cuban Americans are Hispanics, and Hispanics vote Democrat, just like black people, because they're supposed to, because that's the way that it is, right? Sort of like pets, like that's what we do with pets. We limit, we give them limits to where they can go, and we don't think they can do certain things because they're not humans. So there's the same, there's this attitude. I didn't make this up. I observed it. So I started seeing these articles, reading these articles about how pundits on the left and journalists were saying the reason why Cuban Americans voted for Donald Trump is because they're attracted to, that strong man, alpha male, and they like for their men to be bullies, the machismo, right? And Cuban Americans don't understand the nuances of American government because, they're uneducated and they're simple. They're very simple people. And they don't get it. They don't get the sophistication of American democracy. And they like a bully, and that's why they're just, kind of simple-minded, emotional people. And oh, by the way, they're not really Hispanics either, because true Hispanics vote Democrat, right? And I know there's like a massive outrage over this, but of course, I know about the massive outrage because I'm sort of like, what do you call it? News source agnostic and news eclectic, right? I'm all over the place. I'm so curious. And I've said it before, but my curiosity, I can't help myself, and it's got a lot to do with my experiences over my lifetime and like often just kind of like being on the outskirts. And I used to hate that. But now it's a massive advantage for me because number one, I don't get particularly caught up in anything. I don't identify with my body. My body is a vehicle that I'm occupying for now. And I've been talking to friends lately about everything that's going on, politically. And I have my beliefs, my belief system, my opinions. I have my values that are just not going to change, and I'm cool with that. And I've been talking to friends about how, like, what we're going through is sort of biblical. And I'm like, you know, I have these little stories that I tell myself um, to keep myself sane, because honestly, I feel like I'm living in an open air insane asylum. Like, that's just how it feels, right? Um, and maybe that's exactly what this is, because we have different groups of people who are on the same physical plane, and we all have access to the same information, and we see what we want to see, and we don't see what we don't want to see. Me, personally, speaking for myself, I want to see what I don't want to see. I want to see the truth, because I know that in the truth is freedom, right? Um, and maybe that's because I really don't have anything to lose. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I've lost so much, I'm not afraid of losing because I've lost so much. Who knows? Maybe it's a whole bunch of different reasons. But I've been talking to friends and I'm like, I have these stories I tell myself, right? I have a whole host of stories. I'm a storyteller. Stories help me make sense of the world and like keep me oriented. So I'm like, maybe the whole goal, like the whole reason for life is to wake up. Like for me, I'll speak for myself, is to wake up to who I am and to wake up to my true self. And everywhere, I mean, it's like temptation here, temptation there. Oh, this thing is seductive. And oh my God, like if I do that, then I'll get this and I can have this and I can have and I can do and I can, do you know what I mean? But everywhere all around are these like temptations and deceptions and seductions. And it's so easy to get lost. And to me, being lost is being in a state of fear. Being lost is seeing is being in this state of deception where I am evaluating and classifying and giving value or giving no value or devaluing things based upon their appearance and not upon what they are or upon their energy, right? So for instance, it's like I'll talk about like a seduction or a deception, right? I could be in a relationship with somebody who says, I love you. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. You're so amazing. You're so wonderful. And I'm going to take you to, I don't know, what's someplace? I'm going to take you to New Zealand. Yeah, yeah, that's a ticket. We're going to go on this vacation to New Zealand. And I'm going to buy you this and I'm going to buy you that. Oh, baby, I love you so much. Right? And I could fall for that. But then they don't deliver. Right? And I keep falling for it and they don't deliver. But it's like the seduction it's the promises and it's the you're so wonderful and pumping up my ego and nothing, right? And I've like wasted my life force, my time, my energy and everything. So that's like an example that can happen. Interpersonal relationship. It could happen between parent and child, friends, business partners, politicians. But the thing is, like, this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I was telling my friends, no, okay, so let me back up a little bit. Back to the part of, well, maybe this is the game. We come into this world and we have to figure out what is real and what is true, right? Because if if I don't love the truth, then God will send me a powerful delusion, and then I'll just go insane, and I will do things, and I'll make promises, and I'll put my energy into things that ultimately are just dust, right? So, yeah, I've been talking to my friends about this. Like, maybe the game is to walk the narrow path and to have ultimate freedom. And to me, freedom is like freedom from judging others. Oh, it's hard. From judging others, from hating others, from stereotyping others, from like even thinking I know what's going on, right? And then that freedom is just being alive and experiencing things. And then, like, when those people are over there that everybody says are bad, evil people and getting in the way, like, I could go to them and go, hey, what do you think? What was it like growing up in that place? You know what I mean? What are your values? What are your goals? What is your vision of, like, the I don't know, like, I can't say the most perfect, but like the most excellent America, right? Or the most excellent world, or like, what are you passionate about really? What's your community passionate about? What are you guys up to? Like, what do you really believe, right? And but to that's to me is freedom. Like, I could, oh, I don't know how to say it. It's like I could have everything material that I want, and I could go any place that I want and do anything. But if the state of my like mind, body, spirit, the sort of the state of my soul, or this psyche or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, those people are gonna get me. Like, oh no, I have to hold on to this really tightly, and oh, I can't. They're after me. They hate me. It's like, what? What? You know what I mean? That's not free. And I was like, oh my God, I've been having like the greatest conversations lately. But I was talking to a friend about how it's like you look at these, multi-billionaires, right? In the billionaires club or the trillionaires club, somebody finally makes it up there, and it's like, oh, poor baby. He only made 23 billion. And then this guy made, like a trillion. And then Mr. 23 billion feels so small. Because it's like, if somebody lives, if the values, if they live their life, not through values, or their values are ideologies, their values are, if we can just legislate this and demand that, and give these people fines, and give this sector of society a bunch of money and a bunch of PR and a bunch of support and a bunch of marketing, then everything will be okay. Oh my God, my hair. It's at that adolescent stage. It's like when junior high, everybody's like really ugly for going. It's not short, it's not long. What are you doing? Anyway, sorry. So it's like, oh, I lost my thought. I got distracted by my hair. See? That's what we do. See, I am the greatest case in point right now. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I was talking about something that really makes a difference, and then I got fixated on my hair, and I lost my thought, and I got distracted, and so I lost that battle. I lost it. So sad. Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about this. Like, I am the only person living my life, right? Um, my life, like, nobody can value my life more than I value my life, right? And if this is the only human life I have, like this is my one and only, then why? I mean, this is a question. It's rhetorical. You can answer it or not. You can ask yourself the question. I'm just sharing my thoughts because I believe that sharing our thoughts is really good. It puts the algorithms in their place, right? So, um, like, I'm the only person living my life. So, why on earth, why would I ever relive or live my ancestors' traumas? I mean, I imagine that if I'm an ancestor, I don't want my descendants to do that. If I went through hell, I don't want my descendants to be like, oh no, my ancestor, she went through hell. I can't, I cannot. No, no. Something that's so amazing about being human that distinguishes us from other animals is that we have this thing called imagination. We have the ability to take our imaginations and create new experiences, right? Like we have this ability. We can imagine ourselves out of trauma. We can imagine ourselves into healing. We can imagine anything that we want. And we're not taking advantage of this amazing resource that we have. So, a meditation that I do is like well, this is part of a meditation that I do. And, you know, most of the time I'm meditating, I'm just like doing this and that, sort of like a walking meditation. But a meditation that I do is I imagine, right? I imagine I go to the past and I'm in the present and I go in the future. So I imagine myself as my ancestors. I imagine myself as my children of me. What do they need of me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I imagine and I reframe bad experiences and I take the like that golden thread and then I from that bad experience and I weave it into my life now. You know what I mean? Um, and speaking of imagination, I don't know. I feel like I'm going on and on. How long have I been talking? 33 minutes. I think that's enough. I just wanted to share. Um, I think, you know, I'm thinking about Bob Marley's, you know, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. So, yeah, whatever happens, wherever I go, there I am, and it doesn't matter who's ruling. I'm 100% responsible for my internal environment, even if I can't, you know, can't control or I have very little influence over my external environment. But, you know, oh yes, this is a part. Um, this meditation that I do, I, I think about the vastness of the universe, which is infinite, and I push my consciousness out farther and farther in my awareness. And I see, like, I'm just this little, right? I'm a tiny little speck of dust. And that, like, on the one hand, that's like, oh my God. But then on the other hand, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have a very limited time to really enjoy this life and, you know, to make a difference. And, you know, media and culture, you know, they kind of dictate to us what to care about and what not to care about. Look there, don't look there. Look there, don't look there, right? Constantly. Care about this, oh no, don't care about that, right? And they tell us, and they give us, they keep, tell us a vision. They tell us what to envision. But we're infinite, we're infinite consciousness, and we get to choose. And I choose to envision and to focus on things, thoughts, ideas, awarenesses that actually make a positive difference in people's lives. Because there's enough like manipulation already. I would like to be on the other side of that. I'd like to say that I'm on the side, not of manipulation, but on the side of like total freedom. That's where I want to live. It's challenging, not easy at all. It tests me all the time. And yeah, like, all sorts of ways, like imposter syndrome, for example, like, who the hell are you to be talking about this, Inange? Like, you're a nobody. You didn't build anything or, write books, or you don't have a Nobel Prize, Inange. Like, who the hell do you think you are to be talking? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I think I am. I mean, wow, that's another. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share just my thoughts, my questioning thoughts. I'm just putting some stuff out there, kind of like loosen stuff up, because this artificial intelligence and these algorithms have so much more influence on us than I think that we can ever imagine. And the best thing that we can do to maintain our humanity and our connections with people and have those experiences that make life like really worth living and rich and grow and learn and be challenged is to, share our thoughts. I'm not saying I'm right. And I know that there are many things and perspectives I don't have, and people might be thinking, but what about this? What about that? That's fine. That's fine. That's why each one of us is like unique and absolutely unique. So yeah. Well, anyway, if you hung in for this long, I thank you very much.